High Chancellor Vorthkes of the Dominion Council couldn't contain the rhythmic pulsing that indicated amusement as he examined the diplomatic gift from the primitive humans. The small potted specimen sat innocuously on his crystalline desk, its green tendrils swaying gently in the climate-controlled atmosphere of the council chamber. "This," he announced to his assembled advisors, "is what the humans consider a peace offering. A single plant." The council chamber filled with harmonic frequencies that translated as laughter. Sub-Commander Yex Thul, whose species had evolved from mobile plants themselves, leaned forward to examine the gift more closely. "It appears to be a climbing variant," Yex Thul observed, his bark-like skin shifting colors with condescension. "Primitive photosynthetic organism. Non-sentient. The humans called it kudzu, I believe." Chancellor Vorthkes's crystalline form chimed with amusement. "How quaint. They offer us a decorative plant while we negotiate the terms of their species integration into the Dominion." He turned to his xenobiology advisor. "Null vis, your assessment?" Null vis extended sensory tendrils toward the plant, her bioluminescent patches flickering as she analyzed its structure. "Rudimentary cellular organization, simple vascular system, basic reproductive mechanisms. It's essentially a weed, Chancellor. The humans have given us what their own databases classify as an invasive species." More harmonic laughter filled the chamber. The irony wasn't lost on any of them, humans offering an invasive plant to a galactic dominion that specialized in the conquest and integration of new worlds. "Perhaps," suggested Minister Quillvex, "we should return the gesture. Gift them one of our crimson devourers. Something with actual sophistication." "No need," Chancellor Vorthkes decided. "We'll keep their kudzu as a reminder of their charming naivety. Place it in the memorial gardens on Thraxis Prime. Let it serve as a symbol of their primitive understanding of power." 3 cycles later, the emergency beacon from Thraxis Prime shattered the peaceful routine of the Dominion Council. Chancellor Vorthkes materialized in the command center, his form resonating with alarm frequencies as distress signals flooded their communication networks. "Report," he commanded, his harmonic voice cutting through the chaos. Commander Zell Prime's usually composed demeanor had cracked entirely. "Chancellor, we're receiving desperate evacuation requests from 17 different sectors on Thraxis Prime. The colonial administration is overwhelmed." "Overwhelmed by what? Enemy attack? Natural disaster?" "Sir," Commander Zell Prime's voice dropped to barely audible levels. "It's the plant." The words hung in the air like a discordant note. Chancellor Vorthkes felt his crystalline structure vibrate with disbelief. Clarification requested. The main display activated, showing orbital surveillance footage of Thraxis Prime. What they saw defied every principle of botanical science the Dominion had established over millennia of galactic expansion. Where the memorial gardens had once showcased the most exotic flora from 1,000 conquered worlds, an endless green carpet now stretched across the landscape. Thick, ropey vines had consumed entire districts of the capital city. Massive leaves blocked out the sun above sprawling urban centers. The kudzu had grown over buildings, through buildings, and in some cases had simply dissolved the molecular bonds of Dominion architecture and absorbed the raw materials. "Impossible," whispered Naelvis, her bioluminescent patches flickering with confusion. "Our preliminary analysis showed it was a simple organism. Basic growth patterns, normal photosynthetic efficiency, standard cellular reproduction rates." "Run the analysis again," Chancellor Vorthkes ordered, his harmonic frequencies harsh with mounting panic. The results materialized in the display, and the council fell silent as they absorbed the implications. The kudzu hadn't changed, they had simply catastrophically misunderstood what they were dealing with. Growth rate, Nalvis read aloud, her voice hollow with dawning comprehension. 30 centimeters per day under optimal conditions. Optimal conditions defined as any temperature between 2 and 43 degrees Celsius. Any soil pH between 4.5 and 7.0 and adequate moisture. Those, Commander Zell Prime noted with growing horror, describe virtually every habitable environment in our territory. The analysis continued to unfold like a strategic nightmare. The kudzu could climb any surface, overwhelm any competing vegetation, and most terrifyingly, it could reproduce both sexually and asexually. Each node of the vine could potentially generate an entirely new colony. Furthermore, Nalvis continued, her voice barely maintaining scientific objectivity, the organism displays remarkable adaptability. It's already showing resistance to our standard botanical control methods. Chemical defoliants are being absorbed and processed as nutrients. Energy weapons simply create more surface area for growth. Chancellor Vorth Kess stared at the display showing his species' crown jewel colony world, disappearing beneath an endless ocean of green. How long? He asked quietly, before total surface coverage. At current growth rates, came the reply, approximately 18 standard cycles. The chamber fell into stunned silence as the magnitude of their error became clear. They had welcomed aboard what humans casually dismissed as a weed, and that weed was systematically devouring one of the most advanced worlds in their empire. Emergency reports began flooding in from other Dominion worlds. Microscopic seeds had apparently dispersed through the atmospheric processes of visiting ships. Remote colonies reported mysterious green growths appearing around their spaceports. Even worlds with completely different atmospheric compositions were beginning to show signs of kudzu adaptation. "Sir," Commander Zell Prime announced, his voice cracking with stress, "we're receiving a priority communication from Earth." "Route it through," Chancellor Vorth Kess replied grimly. The holographic image of Dr. Sarah Chen materialized in the chamber, her expression a careful mask of diplomatic concern. "Chancellor Vorth Kess, we've been monitoring some unusual botanical readings from your territory. Is everything all right?" The question hung in the air like a taunt. Chancellor Vorth Kess studied the human's face, searching for any sign of malicious intent, but found only what appeared to be genuine worry. "Dr. Chen," he said carefully, "your gift appears to be more robust than our initial analysis suggested." "Oh no." Dr. Chen's expression shifted to something that might have been alarm. "You didn't plant it directly in your ecosystem, did you? We always recommend contained cultivation for kudzu. It's incredibly invasive if not properly managed." "Invasive," Chancellor Vorth Kess repeated hollowly. "Well, yes. That's why we've spent decades developing control methods. Kudzu can overwhelm entire regions if left unchecked. We assumed any advanced civilization would automatically implement standard invasive species protocols. The implications crashed over the Council like a tidal wave of realization. The humans hadn't sent them a primitive gift, they had sent them a weapon of ecological mass destruction, assuming that any spacefaring civilization would possess the knowledge and infrastructure to contain it. "Dr. Chen," Chancellor Vorth Kess said slowly, "we may require some assistance with containment procedures." Dr. Chen's expression brightened with what appeared to be helpful enthusiasm. "Of course, we'd be happy to share our management techniques. Fair warning though, even with our methods, complete eradication is almost impossible once kudzu becomes established. We usually focus on long-term management rather than elimination." As the transmission ended, Chancellor Vorth Kess surveyed his council. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been brought to its knees by what humans considered garden-variety vegetation. "Sir," Commander Zell Prime ventured carefully, "should we revise our assessment of human capabilities?" Chancellor Vorth Kess watched the real-time footage of Thraxis Prime disappearing beneath an unstoppable green tide. "Commander, I'm beginning to suspect that humans don't classify things as invasive because they're weak." He paused, watching a centuries-old monument vanish beneath the advancing vegetation. "They classify them as invasive because even humans can't control them." The Dominion Council fell into contemplative silence as they realized that Earth wasn't a primitive world offering quaint gifts. It was a planetary-scale laboratory that had been conducting warfare against the most aggressive biological organisms in the galaxy for millions of years. And somehow, the humans had learned to coexist with forces that could devour entire star systems.